Welcome to The Real with Joseph Labman. I am Joseph Labman. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of The Real. Taking time out of your day to come watch this episode. I really appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe for me. I'd really appreciate that as well. That's the best way you can support this channel and help me grow my content and grow this channel to where I'd like it to be. Everybody hit the like button for me on the way in on this video today. That also helps promote this video more in the algorithms, helps grow this channel more as well. Please share this content. I would really appreciate that. My guests would as well. If you would please share this episode with someone you know that maybe is interested in the topic we're talking about today. Please leave a comment below as well. We'd love to hear your guys' feedback. You can interact with myself and the guest on the panel and the live chat as well. Whatever we're talking about, just leave a comment there in the live chat. Pop in and say hello. We'll put it on the screen for you. And yeah, without further ado, let's get to the show. Welcome back to The Real with Joseph Labman. I am Joseph Labman. Hope you guys having a good Sunday night tonight. Welcome on in. If you're new here, please hit the like button for me on the way in. Everybody smash that like button. And if you're new here, also please subscribe. I'd really appreciate that as well. You can help your boy out and promote this channel. But let's get to it. Obviously, we all know what happened today. We all watched the game. If you haven't seen the game today, you're going to find out about it tonight. What happened? The Browns once again lose to the Cincinnati Bengals today at home, 21-14. A weird game to watch today. I'll say that. Just a sad game, a weird game, and just kind of describes the Browns' seasons in a lot of ways. In some ways, with the on-field performance, some of the same issues still. But let's get into obviously the big topic, which is Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson goes down today injured. Was having a great drive too. Excuse me. I thought the first quarter, he was okay. He was a lot of check downs. They couldn't really find a rhythm. They got a good drive going there. I think it was like 4 minutes left. They ran the ball finally, 3 straight plays. I think it was maybe 3 or 4 straight plays in a row. Deshaun finally started firing the ball down the field more. I think he was starting to get a little more confidence and rhythm. And I'm thinking, man, this drive's looking pretty good. Maybe we got something going. You never know. I mean, and they got right down in the, I think it was about the 20, 30-yard line looking good. And then all of a sudden, bam, he goes down on a non-contact injury. The Browns reported the Browns fear it to be an Achilles injury. To me, it looked very similar to Kevin Durant's injury. If you remember that back in the NBA Finals in 2019 when he was on the Warriors and they went up against the Raptors. The fans booed him that day too. Remember when Durant got hurt? The Toronto fans started cheering when he got hurt, and their own players were yelling at the fans. But it was very similar to that. So I don't want to speculate, but it doesn't look good. And if I had to give this is pure speculation on my part, and I'm sure some of the other guys tonight will agree with this as well. I would probably say Deshaun Watson's career in Cleveland is done. I don't think he's going to play another game for the Browns ever again. Especially after I think what happened when he was down on the field. I think he's probably going to feel a way about that. I think he should. And let's just get into that. I mean, that's the main one. Obviously, we know Deshaun's done for the season probably, and I think probably done as a Cleveland Brown. But the bigger issue, though, was they're both big issues, but I think what everybody's really talking about tonight, I would say, is what got the players pissed off after the game. When Deshaun's down on the field, you have people cheering and somewhat booing him still. And that didn't sit well with some of the players. There's been a lot of reports that Deshaun, that the players in the locker room turned on Deshaun, alleged reports that he sits by himself at a locker every day, allegedly. Jameis Winston's the real leader on the team, and linemen aren't blocking because they don't like Deshaun. These are all the things we've heard all year from these same fans that were out there doing that when that occurred. But the locker room tells you everything, and the players to go up for the players to walk over to the stands and to tell the fans to shut up tells you everything you really need to know. And Myles Garrett after the game was not a happy camper, and here's Myles after the game, his reaction to what occurred today when Deshaun was down.
It was harder with the reaction that the fans gave. Whether it's an opponent that goes down or one of our own, we don't boo. We don't boo the guys that are injured on the field, especially, with the extent when the card comes out. We should be ashamed of ourselves. No, as Browns and as fans to boo anyone and their downfall could be season altering, career altering injury. Man, it's not perfect. He doesn't need to be. None of us are expected to be perfect. Can't judge him for what he does, off the field or on the field, because I can't throw stones from my glass house. But we need to do better. We need to do better on the football field, and we need to do better as fans for having some empathy for a man who's doing the best he can and did the best he can up to this point. We have to be better.
What does that make you? Does that alter your opinion of Browns fans?
Ultimately, everyone is human, and they're disappointed just like we are. But we have to be better than that as people. No, there's levels to this. At the end of the day, it's just a game, and you don't boo anybody being injured, and you don't celebrate anyone's downfall.
Yeah, I thought well said there by Myles Garrett. Throw some stones, basically is what he was saying there, and I agree with that. And there's so many perfect people out there in the world. I didn't know that occurred, but I agree with Miles. But you know what's crazy about all this is Miles is right. Is how serious people take a game. It's just a game at the end of the day. And I hear a lot of people, online giving Miles shit now, saying, "Well, Miles is defending a guy that was accused of all this, accused predator allegedly." We don't know. Obviously, all we know is it went to 2 grand juries, and he was not indicted twice, or wasn't found guilty twice. Um, I don't know what we. I mean, we've talked about that at length. That's been discussed at nauseam, a lot for a long time. Um, but I thought what Miles said was right, and all these fans today up there saying that, trying to go after Miles, saying that he's defending that. I highly doubt when those people in the stands today, or people maybe at home, they were cheering when Watson was on the ground. They weren't cheering because they agree with that stuff. They don't. Half these people that say they agree say they're all for that, defending that stuff and all. They're not really about. They're not who they say they are. They're frauds. You know why they're really booing? It's just because it's about the game. It's about their football product, or it looks good on social media. Let's really tell it like it is. A lot of the stuff people are talking about, trying to use that as going after Miles for that. Listen, man, we know what the man was accused of. I understand that. Those are very serious accusations. Some of the things some of the women that came forward and accused him of some of those things, I actually know people personally in my life that had that stuff happen to them, so it means something to me. So I would like to hear somebody say otherwise. But to sit out there and to do that to a guy when he's on the ground, like Miles said, and to do, I mean, it's very classless. It's a bad look. It's a bad image. It's not good look for the city. We're talking about drafting a quarterback possibly tonight. I don't know how you could sell anybody coming here right now. It's just not a good look. It's not a good culture right now. The Browns are an absolute dumpster fire. Again, could those things be true of what happened? Possibly, yes. And everybody's entitled to their opinion. And I totally agree with that. It's, everybody can have their own opinion. I respect your opinion. I have mine. You guys have yours. Although I've never really shared mine, what I really think happened on the show. But I don't think you should never do that, ever. And even if you're somebody who wants to, fight those things of the world, the evils of the world, you don't fight evil with hatred, which is basically you don't fight hate with hate. You don't do. That's not how it works. You show people how they should act. And it's like when Nick Chubb got hurt last year in Pittsburgh in a rival on Monday Night Football. Yes, Nick Chubb's a model. He didn't have that stuff out the field, but you could have some idiot fans in that Pittsburgh stadium that were, because it's a rival, cheering or whatever. But they didn't. They applauded Nick Chubb. They didn't do that. This is the same fan base. Remind you that, all these people that were booing today were probably the same people that have been for the last, I don't know how many, this whole season, saying we should have kept Baker, right? We should have kept Baker, put Winston in. These are also probably the same fans that booed Baker Mayfield when he was out there playing with a broken shoulder in 2021. Remember, Baker got booed off the field and was so pissed didn't even speak to the media. And from that point on, Baker pretty much was checked out of Cleveland. Remember, he didn't even play his last game on the schedule that year. He sat out, excuse me. So these are probably the same fans that booed Baker Mayfield as well, but now they wish he was back. Well, you ran him out of town. You booed him out of town. And so, and yes, they traded him, but I don't think Baker wanted to come back after that. He was obviously pretty pissed. He didn't speak to the media after when that incident happened to him. But this isn't the first time. We were also the same fan base that, and not all fans. I don't like to, because there are most Browns fans I think are good people, but I think the people today that were doing that, I think need to really look themselves in the mirror. It's not that serious. It's just a game. Like I get the other stuff off the field, but that's not the moment where you. Because if that's the case, right, and I'm gonna get to that in a minute. Let me address that in a minute. But we're also remember we've had. I'm gonna address one more incident we've had before. Remember when Tim Couch was here, and Tim Couch walked off the field, and a fan literally told Tim Couch to his face, I wish you were dead. And Tim Couch was at his locker crying after the game because a fan over a game that most of these fans don't even understand. Most you common fans don't even know anything what they're watching anyway. They're just it's just fine. They're common fans. They don't understand the game X's and O's and what stuff really is and really identifying what the real problem is, and they don't understand that stuff. They're just there to have a good time. They want their team to win. I understand that. It's supposed to be a break from reality, right? That's what sports are. It's entertainment at the end of the day. Football, NFL's #1 TV show on 5 different networks, but you just can't stuff like that. You can't build a reputation like that. It's not that serious. Yes, football means a lot, in Northeast Ohio because it was created here. I understand that, and I played football in Northeast Ohio. Won a national championship when I was younger, and watched some good Friday night football every night. One of the best teams in the country. But it's not that serious. It's just a game at at the end of the day. But again, this is a bad reputation now we're developing here in Cleveland because we got these guys come out in the draft. I mean, I don't know who the hell's going to want to come play for this because it's just it's a mess. It's a mess. And the guy that everybody said was the leader of the locker room, right? That everybody said they're not listening to Sean. Jameis is the real leader. Well, here's what Jameis Winston had to say after the game too. And if he's the leader of the locker room, I'm assuming most of the other guys agree with him as well.
I was taught to love no matter the circumstances, especially for people who do right by you. I'm grateful that I had a chance to serve Deshaun, but I am very upset with the reaction to a man that has had the world against him for the past 4 years, and he put his body and life on the line for this city every single day, regardless of your perception, regardless of what you thought should happen with him. He committed every single day that I've been here to be the best that he can be for this team. And I know I come from the deep South, Birmingham, Alabama, Bessemer, Alabama. So I know the standard that hungry fans want. But the way I was raised, I will never pull on a man when he's down, but I will be the person to lift him up. And that all of us have unique experiences. All of us have circumstances, conditions, and facts that we face every single day. And I pride myself in being a man of increase and being a man that wants the best out of everybody. I tell myself every morning what I want for myself, I want for everyone. And I do not want the treatment that Deshaun Watson has received from these passionate fans. I know you love this game. When I first got here, I knew these were some amazing fans. But Deshaun was treated badly. And now he has to overcome another obstacle. So I'm going to be there for him because I see the way he fights. I see the way that he works. And I know who he is as a person and as an NFL quarterback. And that's all I have to say to address him. I'm sending up my prayers. I already prayed for his leg, and I will continue.
Okay, so that was what Jameis Winston had to say after the game. I knew this was going to be coming tonight. Is it okay for the 26 massages ladies to cheer? Again, I already addressed that. I've also said those allegations are very serious. All we know is that it went to 2 grand juries. They didn't, find him guilty. Doesn't mean he didn't do it. I don't know. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I would say if you have that same energy that the fans had today, why not go put it at the people that made the trade themselves? So, and that's my next point. again, if you're gonna boo Deshaun Watson today, why not boo the people that made the trade? Where's that at? Are you gonna take your ass up to the game and go boo Kevin Stefanski and Paul DePodesta and Andrew Berry and Jimmy Haslam every week? They're the ones that made the trade. How come they get a pass? Why don't you go boo them? You won't. Why not? No, I don't get it. We're gonna boo the guy when he's down on the field injured, getting on a cart, but we're not gonna go boo the people that made the trade to begin with, and have developed an absolute shitty ass culture here in Cleveland, an absolute dumpster fire of a franchise. We are. That's what we are right now. We're a mess. So I would ask Plot Twist or any of these other people, go boo them too, because they're the ones that made the trade. Don't give them a pass. No. Don't give them a pass too. Stand 10 toes down like a man and a woman and go out there and boo them too. And then we'll see what time it is. Jersey. Interesting show tonight. Chad's in the house. Shout out to Chad. Facts.
What's up, Chad?
You got any reply to this? Or all of this today?
People are just, it's a shame. It's entertainment. I don't know how, it's kind of a sad thing that people can, they're so wrapped up into entertainment. It's so, has so much of a hold over them, where they, you know, they act like these guys are just immortals and they're here, they're just human beings. You know, I've never been, and I never will be in a position to where I can sit and decide who gets punished for what. Hell, I mean, I should be punished for a lot of things, but it's so I'm not gonna I'm never gonna kick somebody when they're down. I'm never gonna wish ill will on somebody. It's just ignorant. It's hateful. I don't know. It's hard to understand.
Sounds like the society we live in today.
So I mean, it is. You know what I mean? And here, people are allowed. Obviously, that's the great thing about this country. I mean, or at least what it used to be is people were allowed to say what they want and feel the way they want. But people need to have. The world has lost its compassion. You know, I just don't. I'm kind of like a loss for words for it. You know, I'm trying to just. You know, I'm trying to remember I'm on this show and not say anything too crazy. I know sometimes I'm known to do that, but you know.
Well, and not only, let me say something too. We'll finish up with this because, again, you're right. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. My mom's in the house. Hey, Mom.
Hello.
But we've always been consistent when we said on the show. All I said was a fact. A fact was that 2 grand juries said he was not guilty. Is that the fact, right?
That's absolutely a fact.
So, okay. Does that mean I agree with them? I don't know. Maybe not. Have I always said Deshaun Watson put himself into the situation to begin with? Yes, he did.
Absolutely.
So I have no sympathy there, and I'm not. You know, yeah, he put himself in the situation. Now, what happened in those situations, we don't know. Only they know. And as a man of faith, he'll have his day where he'll be, you know, that's between him, God, and those women. That's how I think. People have theirs. That's your opinion. But I still wouldn't, you know, sit out there. You know, there's people out there right now in the world that are maybe facing some serious accusations coming down the road with a lot of this stuff out there right now with certain people in Hollywood, entertainment people out there that big figure that just got cracked down. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. And a lot of your favorite people who you've always loved, you know, athletes and entertainers might be associated with this guy, and may have been at those parties. You know, so I'm curious if people are going to say them with that, but also Some of those people have been accused of things already. Some of them are your favorite athletes right now. One was the biggest athlete in the world. Allegedly, he was involved in things. If he got hurt on Tuesday night, would I sit up there and applaud and cheer? No. We don't know. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, it's a, you should never. My whole point is, if you're really who you say you are and you want change in the world, we all agree that we want what's right to be right, peace and love and all this stuff, all the good things, and you have to show people that. Don't act like the people that you're accusing or going after or trying to, say you're trying to criticize, I guess you could say. I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, don't act like the people you're saying that allegedly did these things that you're mad at them for. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah. I mean, absolutely. That's what's wrong is, and people act like, too many people act like they can just, they just really think that highly of themselves. They think they're so full of themselves, and they think they're so virtuous and they're so wonderful that they can make those. They can say what they want about anyone, and no big deal. But when you say something back, they're usually the ones that crack. They can't take it. So here, at the end of the day, with that whole situation, at some point, I mean, you have to fall on, like you said, the facts. But what is somebody guilty and not guilty? So what I've always said is, a grand jury had 22, I guess 20. There was 22 women, I guess.
26, according to whoever that was in the chat earlier. So
26. I would think, but if there's 26, there would be some kind of evidence to indict somebody on. A lot of people say, go back. They say, well, there's 26. I think it's more believable if there's 2. So either way, that's what I have to fall back on. You know what I mean? Unless somebody goes out and admits it, or if they're indicted. But I'm not. As far as I'm concerned, it's over with. It's over with. And here, at the end of the day, I don't know the guy personally. He's an athlete. And
if somebody's down on the ground in pain, hurt, their career's possibly over, like you don't sit there and do that. It's not a good look. It's and you know what it reminds me of? It's no different than 3 months ago. One night, a guy sped down our street. Right, he drove right past our house, going 70 miles an hour in a residential neighborhood. He flipped his car and crashed. Was it his fault because he was driving that fast and could have hit somebody in the neighborhood that day? Absolutely. We did, 3 of us. I went out there in my shoes and just my socks, and because I'm thinking, man, this guy must be hurt. He might be hurt. And so I go running out there and try to check on the guy. The guy was probably a little intoxicated. So that's another, he was a danger to society, and he put himself in the predicament to possibly hurt somebody that night. But do we go out there and, when he was possibly hurt, flipped in a car, fuck that guy, he don't need help, he did it to himself? No, you still got to go out there. The guy could be, we didn't know. And luckily the guy was okay. But, running out there was not a good feeling. That's for sure. You guys remember that. That was not a good feeling that night. You're running towards the car, not knowing what you're going to see or who's in there.
Right.
Well, that's like saying
car flipped. But I'm saying is, he made a poor choice that night. Could have possibly did something even worse that could have hurt somebody. But when he was down in the moment, what was done was already done. Right? We had to let it. We just did the best we could as people to help him, and the police and the first responders eventually came and they took over. And we left it to them. But it's to me, it's kind of in a way like if I run up on a crash, God forbid, if somebody runs up on a crash tomorrow or something, you don't know if that person's in the car is a bad person or not, or if they're, but you would still actually, go and help them or call for help or at least try. I mean, that's my whole point.
You have to. You have to do that. It'd be like police officers or firefighters. Or any type of first responder deciding when to go out on a call and when not to, or who they're going to save and who they're not going to save. We know that can't be that way.
We have a family member who told us,
right,
went and helped some people that did some pretty bad things. Some people almost pretty much accused of the same things Deshaun was accused of. that were actually convicted of it, and still went out there and had to go out and hold them at times. And sometimes they were, possibly dying. You had to go resuscitate them. But like you said, there he's supposed to stop doing his job. I mean, like,
Well, if you either have to have the compassion or you don't. And if you don't, you do what that person did and they got out. So, and it's okay that they didn't have the compassion because they lived that life for 30 years, and sometimes you get desensitized, and it happens. It happens to a lot of these people that are in that profession, but that person did the right thing and got out at that time because they know that you can't pick and choose. And it's like that in life. You have to have compassion for people or you don't. You just can't decide who. I don't agree with that. That if you're someone that believes that, and that's fine, but I don't know. I think you need to really look at yourself and think of, would you want somebody to do that to say, would you want somebody to think like that about one of your relatives or you, or no? Because at some point in life, everybody's going to face adversity, and everyone's going to need help, and everyone's going to need compassion. No one escapes it. And, but the people that have walked through it already, they already understand it. And so, they tend to have that compassion because they needed it at one point in their life. So either way, I mean, here at the end of the day, it's entertainment. I look at the guy as he's a quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. I don't look at him for anything else. I don't know him personally. I don't want to know him personally. All I know is he's a quarterback, and I want him to play well for the Cleveland Browns. And
and not only that, if they're going to boo him because of that, like they say online, and go after Miles because the Miles defender, should they go to the game every week and start booing the people that made the deal themselves?
Well, they should be booing all kinds of people then. Probably some of their relatives. Probably look in the damn mirror and boo themselves every time they went to the strip joint. Every time they had sex with somebody outside of marriage. I mean, that shit can go on and on and on. You know what I mean? So it's all the same shit. So it's just stupid. Again, it's just people that want to cover, that want to hide their own skeletons and point the fingers at other people. So it doesn't. It's sad, but it's not going to stop me. And again, people need to remember this is just entertainment. You know what I mean? And it's entertainment, but at the same time, though, these are guys that are out there. They're human beings. You know what I mean? And you should just never wish ill will or harm on anybody. So,
is Michael Antonis there?
I am. Can you hear me, beautiful people?
Yeah, yeah, we can hear you. Mike, sorry for the long-winded rant there. We had to address that with the booing on the field today. Miles off to talk about Jameis. I'm curious your thoughts on that, Mike.
I mean, that's pretty disgraceful. I mean, I was on the show last time I was on here advocating for Deshaun to be benched.
Talk with somebody else.
Here, I can think that. Oh.
No, go ahead, Mike. No, so we had too much noise at one time. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you're fine. I was just saying, it's pretty disgraceful. I mean, I was on the show before, like, advocating for moving on from Deshaun Watson, and here that's fine, to, like, boo somebody's play on the field, like you're paying to go watch them play, and if they're not doing well, yeah, sure, boo them, especially if, like, a franchise is paying as much money as they were for Deshaun to hold up their end of the bargain, which is play well. But hearing somebody being actually hurt, I mean, that's pretty disgraceful. Like, I don't think it was everybody in the stadium, and I certainly don't think that's indicative of the fan base at large, but the fact that it happened at all is a disgrace to the fan base. I've seen a bunch of people on socials, discrediting, like, the fans that it did that and saying how wrong it was. So at least, like, at large, at least the fan base seems to be united on, like, that wasn't cool kind of thing. So, I mean, it shouldn't happen. Like, I understand you're upset at the season, and I understand Deshaun hasn't played well. But at the end of the day, guys, this is football.
Mhm.
Like, I understand as well, like, as far as what he's been accused of, like, at the end of the day, like, I may
Yep.
not want him on my football team because of that. That's fine. But like you guys are saying, I don't know him. He was never convicted of anything. I don't know what he did. I can only speculate. And I'm not going to like cheer for a man getting hurt based off speculation. And that's just the way it is. Like, it's unfortunate. Like, it's football. Like, come on. Like, it's a game. Like, it's a game we all love and a game I want
Right.
my hometown team to play well at. So, you know, we don't have to like grill them every time that we do a show, but like, we got to be better than this. We are better than this. I know we are as a fan base. So, and as people, like Cleveland is one of the better cities in America, in my opinion. Like, it's a very unified city for the most part. Like, you go out to social events in Cleveland, people are like, it doesn't matter what color you are, what part of the city you're from. Most people are cool with you, will chat you up. Like,
Yeah.
that's the Cleveland I know and love.
Right.
And, this isn't indicative of us as a city or us as a fan base. And here, even though I'm just a dude on the internet and dude that writes articles, on behalf of Cleveland fans, I apologize to the team. Like, that is disgraceful. It shouldn't happen, and I pray it never happens again. Because, yeah, I've said it many times, but this isn't who we are at large as a city and as a fan base.
I agree, and kudos to you, Mike. I agree with everything you said there. And I was a little passionate when I came out here tonight, just because I don't like if you say one thing that hey, you shouldn't boo the guy. That means all you don't care about the 26 women or I don't like being put in. You shouldn't be putting labels on people and saying just because I say one thing doesn't mean I agree with the other. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's what we're saying tonight.
Yeah, like I said, like
that's all we're saying.
Because of that, I don't want Deshaun on my football team for all those reasons. But like, I'm still not going to wish the guy harm. Like
Exactly.
You never want to wish anybody harm. Like, I mean, Brett Favre is allegedly kind of like a piece of garbage based off of what he's been accused of. Would I want Brett Favre to be shot or get in a car accident tomorrow? No. This is football. These are people. Like,
when you have other athletes, like I said earlier, right now that are being accused of things by people publicly, doesn't mean I agree with them or I think they're right, but they're being accused of some pretty heinous things.
If these people have done what is wrong, they should have their time in court, and justice should be served the correct way. I never will want someone to be harmed. Like, that's just the way it is. Like, I get the product on the foot. Like, any fans watching this, I understand. I'm upset at the product on the field too, and I understand Deshaun hasn't played well for us for what we're paying for him. But at the end of the day, like, it's football, guys. Come on, we're better than this. We are a better city. We are a better fan base. We're better friends. Like, it's messed up.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't who we are.
No. Unfortunately, this treatment of Browns players is not new to Cleveland and didn't start with Deshaun. I have personally seen on 2 different occasions 2 other QBs getting hurt while the fans cheered. Then the stadium erupted into celebration as Kelly Holcomb entered the game for an injured QB on Monday Night Football at a game I attended. I often think I think Mike got in a low area. He's driving, folks, so he'll be back in a second. I often think that the bad luck and was that? Can you see
Residual.
that? Residual. I'm sorry. It's small on my screen, guys, because I got a bigger screen. But anyway, residual doom for our fan base carries it because of the actual fans inside of it. I've seen that too in person. It was at a Cavs basketball game. I remember Dwayne Wade tore his ACL right in front of us, and the guy in front of me stood up and went, "Yeah," and he clapped. And was cheering about it. I remember everybody just looked right at us. Dad, you remember that? We were sitting there, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, what is going on?" But Gurk, sorry to keep you waiting, brother. You got any last? I'll let you go last on this. We'll move on to some football stuff. But you got any take on all that? What happened to the stadium today when Deshaun was down?
Well, I mean, the way I view it is there's just a bunch of idiots everywhere. and not just
Sorry,
in
guys, I'm
Cleveland.
driving.
It's not just in Cleveland. It's everywhere. Unfortunately, there's just idiots out there, and those same idiots, if they want to say it's because of the 26 women and all that stuff, but they would have all forgot that if Deshaun led them to a Super Bowl. So it's sad that it happened. He clearly is done for the year, and the fact it was cheered for is it's just sad. But again, what else is new? People shouldn't surprise you because there's imperfect people in this world, and we all are. And there's some idiots out there that are just going to cheer, people when they get hurt, and cheer people to, they don't want people to do good.
And how many people do you think actually when he was down today? How many people you think were actually cheering because they were thinking in the back of their head of the accusations, or was it really just about the football game?
It was 100% about their football performance. I mean,
now
I guess
a lot of the same people are using that card tonight to defend their actions.
100% because
exactly. So let's use alleged victims as that's really that's a good thing, right?
It's funny that we say it's okay for some people. Watson's just unexcusable when we've seen those same people cheer for Joe Mixon, who on TV, I mean, this Deshaun Watson thing is acquisitions, and it's a lot, and I'm not trying to excuse it by any means,
which none of us have,
but I have personally witnessed on a screen Joe Mixon knock a female out. And it's okay. It's all right. We could cheer for him. It just doesn't make sense. Kareem Hunt. I mean, we've all seen the video. People didn't treat him like this in Cleveland. In fact, we signed him. We welcomed him home.
Twice.
I mean, it's just, we cheered him on. We were excited that he was a part of Cleveland and coming home after everyone seeing him personally hitting a woman. It's just, it's amazing to me that, it's okay for some. It's okay. It's not okay for others. It's all Deshaun Watson's fault that he was in Cleveland doing bad. It's not, the people that brought him here's fault.
That's my whole point. What I said earlier. If you're going to keep that same energy, go back to the game or go outside of Berea at right outside the facility and boo the people that made the trade every day.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Again, it's definitely unfortunate that the guy's laying on the ground and the cart's coming out and fans are cheering, and it's just, whatever. I mean, it's at least it's something different than talk about, other than the Cleveland Browns doing yet again another terrible performance.
Yeah, we'll get into that for a second, for a couple minutes, not a lot. That's all we're gonna say on that, guys. Again, that's all we're gonna say about all that stuff. But DTR came in the game, Mike. I didn't think it was great. Had first, when he was out there, turnover on downs, interception, punt, intentional grounding on one of those punts, and another interception. Jameis Winston came in on the last drive and looked better of the two today. Grant, I thought, at that point in the game, you didn't really think the Browns were going to win. And Cincinnati's playing a lot of prevent, kind of sagging off in coverage a lot. But he did throw some nice balls, and they did not only score a touchdown, but converted a two-point conversion. I think, Mike, obviously the season's pretty much a wash. You're not going to the playoffs. I think we're going to talk about the future here mainly tonight. of what they should do going forward. But I'm assuming Jameis Winston probably should be your answer the rest of the year. I just run with him, I guess, to keep that locker room somewhat together. Although I'm curious now what players are going to be thinking going forward about. I mean, they said today after the game how they felt, so I'm curious what they're going to be thinking moving before and playing some of these games with the Browns logo on their chest. But your thoughts on that, Mike?
I mean, as far as like what happened, I think the players, I mean, they're pros, and like even the coach said he was disappointed in the fan reaction. I think they'll move past this. Whether Jameis is going to be starting or not, that's a great question.
Yeah, that's what I want to get into.
I honestly don't know. I think Jameis gives you the best chance to win games right now, but I'm not curious if that's what the Browns are looking to do at this point. I even personally wouldn't mind seeing an extended look at DTR with a full week of practice and maybe like a few tweaks to the game plan. Because when they were running that RPO, like he can run the RPO very, very well. Like
he's got some wheels.
He's got some wheels. He knows when to take the ball. He knows when to run. He knows when to take the ball and just throw. He can run the RPO really well. The problem with DTR, and shout out to Quincy Carrier for saying it in his post game, is when things start breaking down for DTR, he can't like dig himself back up. Like he gets panicked. He still has that rookie quarterback mentality where if he throws a pick or like he takes a big sack or there's a big penalty that is his fault, like he can't like, okay, on to the next play. You know what I mean? Like he gets into his own head. I thought that was a great analysis by Quincy because I see the same thing with DTR, and it's maybe like if the coaches spend more time with him as the starter, maybe they can coach that out of him because athletically and even like ball accuracy wise and ball strength, like he throws a really hard, accurate ball and the spiral looks good. I don't know about his deep ball. It looked a little bit better, especially that first like back shoulder pass that he tried for Cedric that drew that PI call was probably one of the better passes I've seen all season from anybody. But it's just a matter of can you coach those mental, that mental acuity when stuff starts to not get perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, I would say. I mean, I think you're right because I think you have to see what you have there long. You're playing the long game now. So exactly. You got to see what you got with DTR. Do I think DTR, if I had to bet based on what I've seen, is going to be the long-term answer? No. But I will give him a shot.
But he could be a bridge guy. He could be your bridge guy.
He could be a bridge. He could be your backup. I mean, it gives you something to see during the season.
Something to evaluate.
But do I like when Jerry Judy's frustrated on the sideline today throwing his helmet? No. Not that Jerry Jeudy, has played great this year either, but there was a lot of frustration showed today, obviously.
Yeah, I think emotions were high too.
Emotions were high, but I do think Jameis, like you said, it depends what their goals are. And that's, it's kind of why I said tonight, where do we, Dad, I'll let you go here. Where do we see this like regime now, even with Stefanski, Barry, Steve Podesta? And what, if you're Jimmy Haslam right now, what would you do, Dad? I mean, where do they go from here? You're muted, by the way. You unmute yourself.
All right, good now.
Yeah.
Well, here of the three major sports, is there any worse organization than the Cleveland Browns in the last 25 years?
Yes.
No.
Who?
The Arizona Coyotes.
I said the three. No, I said three major sports, Mike.
Oh.
Football, basketball, baseball. Is there
MLB?
The Charlotte NBA. Hornets.
No, you're wrong.
They're up there.
No.
And you said baseball, the Colorado Rockies.
No, is there? No, listen. What I'm saying is there when you talk about just consistent dysfunction and just failure, there's no team worse than the Browns. Okay, so these three goons, I don't care what they say in their press conferences. They're known for what's going on the field and what the product is. And hey, this is their show that they're running, and it's the worst in sports. and it's the worst. This is the worst I've seen in a long, long time. This is worse than when they went winless. This is terrible what's happening. And now you got the players are kind of at their wits' end with the fans. I mean, it's just I'm emptying house. I'm starting the hell over. You know, it's going nowhere. You have to draft a quarterback now because Watson's never going to play here again. So, and I don't blame him. Well, he may not ever play football again, but if he, well, here, I mean, look, if I'm him, I go to Aaron Rodgers' doctor. I mean, you know, so there's a chance, you know, if he can't come back and play football, he's not going to play football here again. And I don't blame him. I don't want to play here, really. It's a shame. I'm sure he likes the city because it's a great city, but I don't want to play for these people. And I think they've hung him out to dry. They've hid behind him. They have let this guy just take all the abuse, and he's been an easy target for obvious reasons. And that's what they've done. These guys have not been held accountable.
Right here.
And what you see on the field is it's their product. They've put it together. And everyone that said, well, we need to put Winston in, or we need to it's Watson's fault. Okay, now we're going to see if everyone's right. We're going to see. We got 10 games left? Man, they're probably going to win all 10 games then, right? They're going to win all 10 games because it was all Watson's fault. No, it's these idiots that are sitting in those offices that don't know what the hell they're doing running this team. I mean, we got John D. Podesta, who get out of here. You don't know what the hell you're doing. It shows. Andrew Barry, get out of here. It shows. All the best guys on the team are Dorsey guys. And Stefanski, get the hell out of here. He's more worried about lining his beard up every week. I mean, get out. It's pathetic. I want real guys. I want real. Where's the men at? I want some men. I want real tough guys running our team, not these damn fools. So I mean, here,
become a Lions fan.
Hell yeah, I can't force myself to be. Here, this is what I'm thinking tonight. I don't want to be a fan of the Cleveland Browns anymore. I don't want to be a part of this fan base as a whole. I know it's not all of them, and I know there's people, man, that spent their decades and decades cheering for this team, and God bless them, man. But it's like we got to be we're the city with the if you're talking about the city with the dumbest fans, the dumbest group of fans, it's Cleveland by far. And it's just like it's so hard, but I can't force myself to. I want to cheer. I want a winning team to cheer for. A properly ran team, but I can't force myself. But at least the Lions got some dudes running their squad. You got John Lynch. He's running. Look at these front offices. You got real guys running these teams. Real football minds. We got some damn freaking geek squad sitting up in that office. And he's hiring people he's hiring people that are only in line with what he thinks. And these guys don't know what the hell they're doing. It shows. And so the only silver lining in today is they don't have a quarterback to hide behind anymore. So we're going to see what the hell happens. And I want to hear everyone else's. I want all these people that blamed Watson and no accountability for this front office and this ownership. I want to hear what they say at the end of the year because there's 10 games left. I want to see if they're right. It's going to be even worse than what the first 7 games were like.
Sis Webb said, "Stop it, Joe."
So,
Jeremy,
who?
Sis Webb says, "Stop it, Joe.
Oh.
We need a damn quarterback."
Wow. So that's another person. Yeah. That's probably somebody that was saying, "Hey, it's all Watson's fault." Okay, get back on here in 10 weeks and we'll see what you have to say. But it's just here. I'm not saying Watson's the greatest quarterback in the world. Watson he just never he just I just want to see him play for a whole season. You know what I mean? I just wanted the guy to have the ability to. I wanted to see if this guy can still play. We never truly got to see if he can still play. You know what I mean? But I can tell you this: he's not the reason for all the penalties. Just the dysfunction. That all goes to the front office.
Bad
It's a
play
disaster.
design.
Bad drafts. Yeah, the play calling's horrible. I mean, I'm watching it today. Every first down, throwing first down, throwing.
Why did we not run the ball with Nick Chubb the first play of the game?
Well, here, like that one. What was it? We get a penalty where you know we get the ball. I think we're at our 9-yard line, 1st and 20. Now we want to run the ball. You know what I mean? We want to get in a 1st and 20. I mean, it's just. I don't understand what the hell. I don't know. Maybe the analytics said that's the thing to do. But
Football's the ultimate team sport, but we love to blame quarterbacks.
that's it. And when here, and I understand the situation is they get all the money, and but I mean, for anybody that sits and just says these people just beat on Watson, you obviously don't know you don't know anything about football. You don't understand the game, and you just follow a narrative. So
Hey, guys.
do me a favor and just don't watch the game.
My phone's about to die, so I just want to say a quick I love you all, and thank you so much all for tuning in. My phone's about to. I'm driving home from Madison because me and my wife are celebrating our 1-year wedding anniversary.
Congratulations!
Oh, thank you so much, Snookums. I love you so much.
Snookums.
But yeah, I wanted to chime in. Obviously, I know because of the situation with what the fans did, I wanted to at least give my 2 cents and give a little pep talk because it is not us as a city or as a fan base. We're better than this. And I mean, I think this panel is a perfect kind of allegory for who we truly are as a fan base. Just some dudes that love football, love talking ball, and love each other, good friends. So thank you guys so much for, and thank you, Joseph, for allowing me to co-host this show with you for this long. It's awesome, man, and you're the best. And if you're watching this and you're a first-time watcher, you best be subscribing. I will find you if you don't. But all right, guys.
Love you, brother.
Love you guys. All right, we'll
Mike.
Later.
We got another guest in the house in the back. He called back in again. But Chris, you want to give any response to my dad say there before we move on?
Well, a couple things. DTR is not an NFL quarterback. He will be out of the NFL in 2 years. And there is no quicker way that they'll lose their job if they continue to have DTR starting moving forward, because that dude stinks. And, he's an NFL quarterback. He's clearly a better quarterback than I am, or I will ever will be. But when it comes to an NFL quarterback, DTR is not him. With that being said, Mike mentioned one thing is if let's see DTR, because I don't know if they want to win. My only thing to Mike is it doesn't matter if they put DTR or Jameis, they're still not going to win. So
right,
it doesn't.
And that's my
matter.
old thing too. Is here Deshaun didn't play well when he was out there those games, and I said that, and I even said at one point, I've said the last 3 weeks, I said they probably should move on because I just don't think it's ever going to work out here. You could just see it. I just didn't think him as Stefanski. I just didn't see it meshing well, and his confidence didn't look great to me. But so I said they probably should move on, but he didn't play great. But a lot of the main problem though is, like we said, going into the season, this is the San Diego Browns. This is the Paul DePodesta. He wanted this air raid offense that he convinced Kevin Stefanski to conduct. They fired what worked last year with Joe Flacco with Alex Van Pelt and that offense. You ran him out of town and fired him for no reason. and then you brought in Ken Dorsey, and now we want this air raid attack. And there it is right here, folks. Go check out my San Diego Browns video. You know, the Browns had the third most rushing yards in the league at one point. You know, they were doing well. But, you know, Paul Podesta convinced Jimmy Haslam need to run the air raid offense that his alumni, the Tennessee Volunteers, had installed. And you can see there coaching staff changes this offseason for the Browns. There will be some tweaks to the offensive philosophy as well. And you can see there what also happened. You know, Paul Podesta has pretty much convinced owner Jimmy Haslam that the only way to build a Super Bowl team is consistently throwing for explosive plays in the passing game. Apparently, no matter the weather conditions. And then down at the bottom, disagreeing with or rejecting D. Podesta's research would only be Stefanski's quickest ticket out of town. And you heard what Aditi Kinkabal said on the Cleveland Sports Show recently, how Kevin Stefanski doesn't have the full autonomy in her opinion, and she has a good relationship with Kevin to do the things that he wants to do. You also heard what Sean Kane, former NFL quarterback, said, speaking to Deshaun's camp, that his camp was pretty much saying we know from Deshaun that there's a lack of communication in the building. And so, again, this is all dysfunctional. This is all the air raid attack. We fired Alex Van Pelt for no reason. And you heard what Albert Breer said 8 months ago on 98.5 The Fan in Boston, where he talked about how, you know, there's people in the building that were pretty upset when Alex Van Pelt got fired because they didn't understand why. But I think we know why clearly. And like I said, go watch my San Diego Browns video I did 2 weeks ago, where I pretty much laid all this out, explained all this, and why this offense is the way it is this year. Like you said, Gersh, you could put whoever out there. Yeah, I think Jameis Winston probably be a little more confident than Deshaun, probably hit his layups more. But the offense still stinks. The talent, they've Jerry Jeudy, that trade, Elijah Moore, that trade. The O-line's been up and down this year. DeJuan Jones looked like a guy who's going to be a former. He looked like he was going to be an all-pro, has digressed this year. Nobody's really developing on this roster, period. So I agree with you, Chris. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean it's just one of those things where I guess at the end of the day, you know, the first half before Watson got hurt, you know, obviously they were driving. I guess they might not have scored, whatever, but they ended up scoring that drive. And after that, you know, obviously they missed the extra point, but it was a 1-point ball game when Watson got hurt. And what happened since then? They're playing the worst defense in the NFL. DTR came in. They didn't do anything. They couldn't move the ball. I mean, yeah, he had a couple escapes, but, you know, we talk about, oh, well, DTR may not have been prepared. Well, the defense wasn't prepared for a running quarterback either that game. You know what I mean? They didn't have a week to prepare for DTR.
He had some pretty bad misses and some pretty bad throws.
And his running ability and everything like that. So, you know, it goes both ways. You know, they're you know, Mike's like, I'd like to see, you know, with him a week to prepare. Well, they're going to realize that defenses are going to prepare that just play him escaping the pocket and you're going to win all day, because I don't know what Mike says when he says he throws a beautiful ball, but that dude stinks.
I didn't hear that.
I mean, do I think the kid's talented? Yes, but do I agree with you? Do I think he's an NFL quarterback? No.
Yeah, I mean, of course he's talented. He made it to the NFL. You know, I'm not here to say that he, you know, but when I say he stinks, I'm saying compared to the level of, you know, of an NFL quarterback. So, I mean, come on. Once defenses get a week to prepare for him, my God, it's going to be over. And then not to mention, you know, they didn't score again until obviously Cincinnati was up 14 points. And let's be honest, they were probably just excited that they only let up 6 all game. And they were like, who cares? We can let up this other, you know, our average is still going down, letting up 14. So it's hysterical. They yet again didn't score 20. I don't know if they ever will this year. And it's just bad. It's just bad.
Yeah, it's bad. We got another guest. Yinzer? Yinzer's back?
Yinzer,
is that you?
Yinzer and technology.
Yinzer, I think you're muted, but we can't hear you again, Yinzer. This happened last time. I don't know what happened. I think your microphone. I don't know what's going on here.
Oh. Stinking it up.
I don't know, Yinzer. I don't know. Maybe figure it out, Yinzer. If you come back up, Yinzer, I'll let you back up. I thought you're watching your Steelers right now. He's supposed to be watching the Steelers. He's up here talking to us, but we'll see if he gets it fixed.
I benched him.
Dan said Yinzer's at his best when muted. But anyways, we'll see if Yinzer gets it fixed. But I want to ask you guys something on the sideline. Something that really stood out to me
Why
today.
are you drinking a pop it? Dude.
Yeah.
Sorry, yelling at my kid.
Okay. I'm curious what you guys think of this, and Dan, you too. Anybody in the comments? A question for all you guys tonight. Yeah, we're talking about regime change possibly. I agree with you, Dad. At this point, if it were me, I would blow this whole thing. I would start from scratch. I think you're gonna have a high draft pick. I think you need a fresh start, a clean start, just move on from all this. I don't like this analytics-driven, thing here that we got going on. We're the most analytically driven team in the league. And by the way, why Baker's playing so well down in Tampa? Well, not that analytics are bad; they're a great tool, but Tampa Bay is the least analytical team in the league. If it were me, I would blow it up too, and I would replace him with the guy that I think was on the sideline today. Mike Vrabel. You remember he was hired here. We all wondered why was Vrabel here. Did Kevin Stefanski hire him? Did somebody, or did maybe Jimmy Haslam bring him in? They had him he's been listed as like a role, just like a consultant for Kevin Stefanski, but he hasn't been involved in the game day stuff at all. He hasn't been on the sideline at all this year. Well, today he was on the sideline. And I'm just curious what you guys think of that. And I'll start with you, Jersey. Do you think there was something there? Why was he on the sideline today all of a sudden? He hasn't been on the sideline all year. I'm curious what you think of that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason. I mean, why, when the season has went this way, all of a sudden he's out there. Why wasn't he out there in game one? Or why all of a sudden is he out there? So he's out there for a reason. And one only knows what it is. I mean, gosh, I don't know. I'm still scratching my head, just wondering what is he doing with all these goons? I mean, what is he doing with all these? What's this guy? What's Mike Vrabel think of all this, of these guys? What does he think of this shit? I mean, this guy, he's been in great football programs his whole life, obviously was out there with the Patriots and had all that success out there with the Patriots. What is he? Because that's his standard, what he holds everything to. So what does he think of these guys? So I would love for him to one day just come clean and just say what he really thought of the people in Cleveland that were running the show. So
he won with such less talented teams in Tennessee.
And he development of players, which we don't have right now.
He's a football guy, obviously. Analytics to me are just for people to just rely solely on analytics. I don't know anyone who relies solely on analytics who knows what the hell they're doing in whatever industry they're in, or So you get all these guys that never played a lick of football in their life, and all they do is just look at stats and analytics, and they start to really believe they know what the hell they're doing. They start to really believe that they could actually put a team together. And
a lot of fans are like that because it gives media people, especially, because it gives them an outlet into the game. It makes them sound like, it gives them an outlet into talking about a game that they really don't know.
Just say a bunch of stats that they read. You know what I mean? And but they really don't know what the hell they're doing, and they can't watch the game and just understand it, and and just watch it and see where the flaws are. They if it's not on a spreadsheet or
nice work,
they're absolutely clueless, and it all plays into fantasy too. So a lot of those guys are that's all they do is just play fantasy. They've never played football, so all of a sudden they're just these football gurus with their fantasy. So But go back to Vrabel. I don't know. Maybe they're going to wipe everything clean. Hopefully, my gosh.
Gergs, I know you. I don't need to ask you. You've already said you would go with Vrabel. Would you guys call John Dorsey and bring him back?
I would just clean house. I would start fresh. I would. It's just at the end of the day, it's just dysfunction, and you just got to tear it down. Do I think that the talent is good enough to where maybe you don't need a full rebuild? Yeah, but I just think that their whole front office and their coaching staff. I think it's over. And when you're a new GM, you kind of want to draft your own guys, So I think that you live by it, you die by it, and did they, I guess, miss on the Watson trade? Absolutely. And that's them dying by it. So they need to all be gone and see what happens. But I wish they would hurry up and trade Zadarius Smith to the Detroit Lions.
Your Lions.
Yeah, I just don't know why they haven't yet, and they need to hurry up and do it. We did beat Minnesota today in Minnesota without any defensive end.
I would well, my question though to you guys, because I think we all agree they should clean house. I think we all three agree that Mike Vrabel probably you already have in house, make him the head coach. But as far as GM goes, there's been speculation. People say maybe they should call back John Dorsey, Detroit, make amends with him. I mean, I'm curious if you guys think of that. Would you call John Dorsey or?
They never. No, that'll never happen because a billionaire owner is never going to do that. He's never going to swallow his pride and bring back a guy that he let go. So that just won't happen. I mean, it would never happen. They think that's weak. It looks weak. So here the guy made some great picks. So
I think Jens, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. Y'all hear me?
Oh, you can hear you. What your Steelers are? You're up right now, 23-15. What do you think of the game?
Steelers kicking butt.
Kicking butt. Well, why are you calling us, Jens? Aren't you supposed to be watching your Steelers?
Well, you know what? I got the Steelers to my right hand, but I just want to call and say I'm really sorry about what y'all going through right now.
Oh, so you feel bad for us Browns fans?
Yeah, you know what? It's a sad day when you got people booing someone's being injured. But I'll tell you what y'all are overlooking is that I think God's putting him in his place. I mean, the man's done some things that he shouldn't have done, and whether he's been to court or not, maybe not on earth, but in heaven, he's been in the courthouse already. And I think God's just trying to tell the man, hey, you kind of screwed up and you need to get your life back in gear. And so don't feel sorry for the man. He's just trying to be put back into place for what he's done. So don't be too sad. But yeah, that's no excuse for the fans treating him like they have.
All right. I agree with what you said there. Yeah, it's your opinion. Respect to you. Yenzer, I was a Steelers fan. I mean, when you look at this Browns organization right now, what do you think they should do? I mean, should they fire everybody? I mean, Jameis Winston, is he the answer? I mean, what do you see?
Well, I'll tell you right now, the problem you got is that coach. And the other problem you got is the owner. That owner is just not gung-ho on and getting a winning team. He thinks he knows what he's doing, but he sure as Sam Hill doesn't. So what y'all need to do is you definitely need to get rid of that coach because he's a sissy boy. He's just not doing the right thing. Once you get rid of him, I think you got the team. It's just a matter of getting the right person to pull all that stuff that you guys have and putting it into a winning team. So it's all about that.
Well, hey, Yenzer, that our owner our owner used to be an owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He used to be a minority owner of the Steelers. What do you say about that?
He clearly wasn't listening in those meetings. Sorry,
Yeah,
Yinzer, I'll talk for you.
What do you think of that, Yinzer? You know, our owner used to be a part owner of the Steelers. What do you think of that? You think he must not have been listening to the Roonies when he was there? What? I guess not, right?
No, I don't listen too much to anything to do with the Browns. I'm all focused on the Steelers. Steelers kicking butt. Steelers up right now. They're kicking the Jets' butt.
What did you think of Mike Tomlin benching Justin Fields for Russell Wilson?
Seems to be doing okay right now for them.
All right. You think you guys gonna? What do you think about winning the Super Bowl? Sure, you winning the division, winning the Super Bowl. What do you think of that right now for the Steelers?
Well, right now, I think we're undefeated other than the rest. So that they're the ones that just always screwing us up. But you know, right now, I think we're contenders for sure. We're always contenders because we're the Steelers.
Well, I can't argue that.
Yeah.
Yinzer, I do have one. I do have
go ahead,
one
Chris.
question for you. If God's into punishing quarterbacks that do wrong, how come He never punished Ben Roethlisberger?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's all in the perfect plan. If you were to die today and wake up, you know everything, the reason for God does everything the way it does. You know, this is what it's all about. God has a greater plan. We don't always know what's going on, but it's not till we die till we know everything that's been done and the reason why. So it's not about what we see as who's been punished the best, who's been punished the most, or who hasn't been punished at all. It's all about knowing that God's in control. Nobody else, just God. So what you got to do is keep on praying. One of these days, the Browns are going to be winners. I truly believe that at some point in the Browns' future, there's going to be a Super Bowl. And they're going to win that Super Bowl, just not now. Go Steelers.
Yinzer, what do you do for a living? Yinzer, can you hear me?
Yinzer, are you there?
I'm here. What y'all want to ask me?
Can you hear Jersey?
Any questions you got? What you got?
Did you hear
Yinzer,
Jersey?
can you hear me?
Can you hear Jersey?
I can hear you, Jersey. You're a good guy. Got a pretty wife.
How would you know my wife? You're from PA.
Uh-oh. Now I can't hear you.
I don't know if he can hear you or not.
Oh,
What's
he's
your-
on the show.
Yeah.
Ask Yinzer what he does for a living. Is he a pastor?
Yinzer, my dad, Jersey said, what do you do for a living? Are you a pastor? What are you?
Well, I'm a pastor, and then I also sell cars. I sell automobiles, Chrysler, Dodge, Ram, Jeep.
Oh,
he
yeah?
He sells cars.
Yep. It's a good living.
You wear that hat when you're selling?
You wear that hat when you're selling cars?
I do whatever it takes to sell a car. I wear this hat. I talk the talk. I do the walk, and I sell some.
All right. Well,
I'd buy a car from you.
hey, we buy a car from you, Yinzer. You know, Yinzer, you said the Browns are going to win a Super Bowl. You know, what year do you, if you had to guess, what year do you think that'll ever happen?
Oh, I already know. It's 2030.
2030?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
2030, huh?
Oh, man, 2030.
Yeah.
So 6 years from now, you're saying the Browns will win a Super Bowl.
The Browns are going to win the Super Bowl. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Indeed. You know, just give them a little bit of time.
All right. Anybody else got any last stuff for Yinzer here? Well, we got to get back and celebrate his Steelers. He got to watch his Steelers. You know, they're up 8.
23-15.
Yeah.
Yeehaw!
Any last questions here for Yinzer? Anybody in the
Come
chat?
on, bring them on. What's all? Are you all kitty cats?
Gerg, you got anything for Yinzer?
I'm all good.
All right. All right. Well, Jersey, any last questions for Yinzer?
No.
No,
Just
I can't hear that Jersey feller.
he can't hear you, feller. Oh, here we go. We got a reaction. Joey DiBiase says Arch Manning will be the quarterback when the Browns win in 2030. Dan Malott says, "What does your shirt say, Yinzer?"
Oh,
It
yeah,
says, "This guy needs another beer."
All right, all right, all right. He needs another beer. Well, Yinzer, go get yourself another beer, my friend, and go enjoy your Steelers tonight. And you can call back anytime.
All right. Go Steelers!
All righty. There's Yinzer, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to Yinzer. He just randomly called in one day. You know, he's been calling back since. So he's Yinzer.
there we like it.
Yeah, shout out to Yinzer. By the way, I'll drop the link real quick. Anybody else wants to come up here and give a take on anything we said tonight or the game today or what happened, whatever. Here's the link right here. Yeah. But link is in the chat. So hit the link if you want to come up here, give your take on the show. You can come in off camera. Just hit that link there. I'll bring you on up here. Speaking of the Browns' future, though, I mean, we're obviously be drafting a quarterback now. I think that's probably where most of us thinking that's what's going to be happening in April. Somebody earlier, where is the comment? I'm curious because we got to start talking quarterbacks now, guys. What do you think of that, Jersey? We're in October. We're already talking about the draft again, just like old times.
Yep, seems like that's a familiar thing in Cleveland. Talking about who's the next quarterback. I mean, oh my gosh! I'm telling you, I stand by what I told you earlier. And maybe I'm wrong, but I got to think the Haslams are just done with this period since 1999, and they're looking forward to almost like a rebrand when they build this new stadium. I mean, I wouldn't doubt if that's what they're thinking. Let's just tear it all apart now, rebuild it, and try to have a winning team in 2028, 2029, whatever the hell they get in there.
Yeah, you know, somebody put I must delete it. Somebody left a comment earlier. They said, "Let's make Deion Sanders our head coach."
Oh gosh.
Okay, I guess you're not a fan of that.
Wow.
But we look at the top quarterbacks in the draft real quick because that's probably what we're going to be talking about for a lot.
Here, sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, you're good. Go ahead.
The Cleveland Browns, if they're not going to go the Vrabel route, need to immediately hire Minnesota's defensive coordinator. I can't think of his name right now. I completely slipped my mind as I was saying it. Oh my God.
I'll look it up. Brian Flores.
Yeah, Brian Flores. They need to immediately hire him. He will bring the toughness. He will weed out the sissies, and he will instantly help the Cleveland Browns. Now, that will require them firing, Paulie and Andrew Berry, which they better not make another draft pick. If you're a Cleveland Browns fan and you want to go into the next year's draft with Andrew Berry and DiPodesto in to make those draft picks, you probably were the ones that were booing Deshaun Watson today, because you're just not very smart. I don't see how anyone thinks that they're good at drafting. I haven't really seen a great draft class. The player development to me stinks. I just think that I don't know. I think that they're too analytical, and that needs to change before anything else. And I think hiring Brian Flores would be a great head coaching option, because he didn't lose in Miami. He just had, that little issue, but
That's a big issue, though. That's a pretty big issue what he did.
But
Well,
would you take Flores over Vrabel?
I said I don't think they're going to hire Vrabel because I just don't see why they haven't done it already. I just don't. I don't understand why Stefanski's in house still. So I think that obviously they're going to have to fire Barry. They're going to have to fire Paul, and then obviously the new GM is going to come in and hire their guy. But I don't know if Vrabel's going to be that guy. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but they need to hire a Vrabel, a Flores type, not a analytical nerd that and expect them to get these players up and going, because I mean, to be honest with you, I thought Jameis Winston, that press conference after the game, it got me more excited and got me more up than any of Stefanski's press conferences ever. I mean,
Yeah.
The guy it's just like, yeah, Deshaun's our quarterback. Yeah.
Go look at the tape. We'll come back next week.
Yeah, just getting the team all fired up.
Yeah. We'll be ready to go. We'll see what we can do.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just like,
we got to do better. We got to do better. We got to do better.
I wonder if Kevin Stefanski's.
We got to do better.
Hey, we need Kevin Stefanski up here. We got a couple questions for him. Go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
And so obviously, you got to do that. You got to do those changes before you talk about the draft, because that's a huge thing. You want the right people making the right picks, and then obviously worry about your quarterback, whether it be Jalen Monroe or Jackson Dart, or any of those guys. Shador Sanders, there's zero chance he will ever come here. He will pull an Eli Manning. There's zero chance he's coming to Cleveland.
Travis Hunter, same thing.
Travis Hunter ain't coming here either. I mean, if you feel the need to trade Myles Garrett, then you're going to be able to get first round picks. But I don't know. I think every player should be available right now, and see as much draft capital you can get, and try to. But I don't know why you would go into next week the same way, just with Jameis or DTR instead of Watson. I mean, you're asking for it. I mean, who do they play next week? I don't even know. But
I don't even know either. It doesn't really matter at this point. But
yeah,
I'm over the season. I mean, you go ahead.
Yeah. Continuing to do the same thing over and over and over again is just, obviously, you know what it is. It's just stupid.
Ravens at home.
Oh, perfect. Just what the doctor ordered. Are you sure you want DTR playing against the Ravens? Oh my God.
Yeah, appreciate you, Zach. Rob said Cam Ward. Cam Ward's a really talented kid. I got to see more I think he's an NFL quarterback. I think some stuff mechanically I'm a little questioned, but I don't know. He's very talented. He's a very good college player. Him and Shador actually had the same quarterback coach too. I think Cam Ward's good. I think Cam Ward probably have to sit a year though. That's just my opinion. Shador Sanders is really good, really talented, but he's probably not going to come to Cleveland. And Deion already said they're going to kind of force their way to where they're going to go. And I think it's what I'm hearing and seeing. It's looking like Vegas. Him and Mark Davis seem to have a pretty good relationship. So I don't think Shador Sanders has a shot. You don't have a shot of him coming here unless maybe somehow Deion Sanders was given the job as head coach, which I don't see happening. But yeah, DBI said this draft class is weak. Yeah, when I look at this draft class as a whole, I don't see any guys. The only guy I think Quinn Ewers has a lot of talent and upside, but he's also right now getting pulled in and out of games for Arch Manning. Does that mean he's a bad quarterback, Quinn Ewers? No, but I like Quinn Ewers, but I don't know. I think he'd have to sit at first, so you'd probably have to bring in a bridge quarterback. I don't think he's not a guy coming to just rush out there. And then you look at the rest of the class. I mean, I like Jackson Dart, but again, another guy who's probably going to have to sit, and you don't really know. There's a big question mark with a lot of these guys like him. I don't think Jalen Milroe is going to be an NFL quarterback. I don't personally. When I look at the rest, Carson Beck, he's tall. He has NFL size, but 3 picks last night, a little inconsistent for my taste. This quarterback, this draft, I only see Quinn Ewers as a really viable option in terms of maybe finding the guy long term as Quinn Ewers, but I think you'd have to really develop him properly with maybe a different coaching staff as well. I'll be honest, the only other option I see right now to maybe try to find a guy, this is the wild card. We're really looking down the road now because we kind of have to. If I'm the Minnesota Vikings, Sam Darnold's pretty good this year. If he keeps winning, they get to the playoffs and maybe do well. You got a guy like J.J. McCarthy sitting there. I mean, maybe you're looking at that option possibly as a trade. Maybe you could try to get McCarthy. Maybe if you trade some of your other assets, like you said, Gergs, bring back some first round. Maybe you could use that to maybe go get a McCarthy, who I thought looked really well. Granted, it was a preseason game. I think he's going to be really good in the NFL. That's the only options I see right now is Quinn Ewers and maybe a J.J. McCarthy trade if Minnesota keeps playing well. Because I think maybe, I don't know if you just, Darnold's only 27 and he's playing well. But I'm curious, do you think, Jersey, would he? It's not great, but I mean, we got to find something. Or would you bring a guy in next year as a bridge, maybe just try to punt to the Arch Manning draft or something, if you think he's going to be that guy?
Well, I'm not even. Just because the last name says Manning doesn't mean, you know what I mean? I mean, obviously he's been taught well, but there's still a lot to be seen with him. So I would say at this point, yeah, it's Quinn Ewers. I would love to have J.J. McCarthy. You know how I feel about him. But I don't know. I mean, I'm so with what Chris said, and none of it. It's all null and void if the wrong people are making the picks, and that's what has to happen. I mean, look at this product that's out there. I'm gonna keep going back to that. Those guys, they need to be gone. I mean, it's just chaotic. It's a shit show. There's no accountability. They pinned everything on the quarterback. They knew exactly what they were doing, and everyone's gonna see it the rest of the season. And so that's what has. I don't give a shit if somehow they got. I don't care if Tom Brady went back in the damn. We just knew this guy was going to be 100% Hall of Famer. I don't care if they drafted a guy like that next in the draft. If you got this front office there, it's never going to work. These guys got to be out. They got to get rid of these guys.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily know if I would go straight quarterback in the draft. Anyways, you got to build your team from the inside out, and oh, perfect. Yeah, whoever Will Grayson just said it. I mean, you got to revamp that line. I mean,
yeah. Well, not only revamp the line, but get somebody in there can coach them properly too.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I don't necessarily know. I mean, if you're gonna just draft a quarterback, throw him out there, the same results are gonna happen if you can't block for him, But I'm just, here. Of course, you hate to see Deshaun Watson go down, and anybody go down. It's not just Deshaun Watson. Anybody go down with a season-ending injury like that. I mean, it's just you don't want to see it, because at the end of the day, these guys are just they're people, just like everyone else. But I just can't wait to hear those people that thought that it was all Watson when they realize that they're going to continue to lose and continue to suck. Because Jameis Winston, you guys got what you wanted. You either got Jameis Winston or DTR. And I don't know why you guys were so wanting it so much, but you got what you wanted. And and next week, trust me, it's going to happen. When you guys get blasted by the Ravens, what are you going to say then? Well, it's the Ravens. And then you're going to make excuses as to why it wasn't the quarterback. And it's just hilarious to me. It's just hilarious how it how it's going to shake out, because there's no chance they're winning next week. I mean, they couldn't even beat the Bengals, for God's sakes.
No, they made the Bengals look like a halfway decent team.
No, I disagree with that. I think they both look terrible.
No, what I'm saying is the Bengals are trash, but the Browns actually made them look like they were a professional football team.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things, you know. I don't know how anyone can look at this Browns team. And to be honest with you, I asked myself today, why am I watching this game? You know, I have the dual TVs with the Lions game on and the Browns game, and I'm like, why am I watching the Browns game right now? Like, why? Why am I doing it?
Because there's always going to be some kind of crazy shit going on out of the ordinary. It's Cleveland.
I think it's just because I I'm on this show and I want to be able to, obviously just say what I see instead of, just making stuff up like some people on the show. But anyways, but, to be able to simply, I don't know if I'm going to watch next week, because it's going to be ugly. I mean, I may, just because it might be most entertaining, but I just it's that football game today. I mean, and then I would look over and watch my Lions Vikings game, and it's just it looked like professional football and like pee-wee football. I mean, it wasn't even close. I mean, guys were missing all over the field in that Browns game. I mean, it was just terrible. And then you got the Lions Vikings game that was an actual, football game. It is what it is. I'm sorry to go on a rant, but
no, you're good.
It's just bad football.
It is bad football around, and I agree. That's my thing. We can, we could sit and talk about who they should draft and all this and that, but it's why I got pissed off at the beginning of the show. Not really about what people's opinion is. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, especially with that other stuff off the field with Deshaun. I get all that. That's not even my whole point. I wouldn't argue with those people. It's just, if you're going to boo that guy on the ground today, why not boo the people that made the trade to begin with, and made this roster even, and this team right now that's 1-6. Nobody's developing. Nobody's getting better. Guys are getting worse. Look at a guy like DeJuan Jones. It's getting bad, and you don't have a good culture. And not only that, look at guys in the past. I mean, Odell was kind of an anomaly, because he's got a little drama with him anywhere he goes sometimes, but he left here disgruntled. Jarvis Landry left here disgruntled. Baker Mayfield left here not in a good mood, and you saw that earlier. They booed him off the field. I brought that back up. We have a lot of guys that lead this organization with a bad taste in their mouth. Well, a lot of players, and this happens today. You hear what you just hear what the players say, and it doesn't matter who we pick or who we draft. It doesn't matter what quarter, or like you said, Chris, we go offensive line or whatever. It's not going to matter if you don't have the right people running it and developing the talent and getting them where they need to be and developing a proper culture here in Cleveland, because we clearly don't have that right now. It's just not there. And the people that wanted Jameis Winston, I think Jameis could have been better than Deshaun in some ways, because I think he's just more confident right now. Yeah. But do I think it would have been a big major upgrade? Would have been Joe Flacco 2.0, which is really what people were hoping for? No. It wouldn't be. Jameis Winston's never been Joe Flacco.
No.
And Joe Flacco was somebody before he came to Cleveland, and he was somebody after he left Cleveland this year. He's still playing well right now in Indianapolis too. So Joe Flacco is a one-on-one, something that we're not going to see probably in Cleveland for a while unless we draft that guy. Joe Flacco is going to get anywhere.
Joe Flacco still led the league in interceptions.
Exactly. And Jameis Winston, same thing, but Jameis doesn't even do the things that Joe Flacco does well. Yeah, Will Great. Yes, he's just a turnover machine. Yeah, he's just a turnover machine. And Joe Flacco is an older style traditional quarterback, 6'6". That's why he fit well in Alex Van Pelt's Stefanski system. But again, we got rid of that system. Didn't even offer Joe Flacco to come back either, because Paul DePodesta, convinced Jimmy Haslam it was time to get that air raid analytical attack going this year, bring in all these new coaches, and it's an absolute shit show. And so it doesn't matter who they bring in, and like this name right here, I brought this up to my dad earlier today. How about Justin Fields? I think Justin Fields, if you drafted, let's say you drafted Quinn Ewers, right? And remember Quinn Ewers was the young guy in the Ohio State quarterback room with Justin Fields. Justin Fields is the older guy that year, 2019. So they have a connection there. They have a relationship. Because I don't think you should rush these quarterbacks out there personally, like a lot of these teams are doing. I know people are going to say C.J. Stroud, maybe even Jay McDaniels, but I don't think I would still not rush a guy. Every player is different. I think quarterbacks are better when they're developed properly, and that you let them sit and develop. And bring in a guy, I think Justin Fields would be a great bridge quarterback for a year. I think he showed this year in Pittsburgh that he could still play good enough winning football if you put a right formula around him and put Quinn Ewers maybe back behind him. That's what I would do. Maybe Justin Fields for a year, since him and Quinn have a good relationship already, and maybe what Quinn developed. Let's say hypothetically, if you draft Quinn Ewers, who knows? Maybe Garrett Wilson might be available. They all got a relationship. I'm just saying, but I'm just speaking hypothetically here, but that doesn't matter because we don't have the right people running this right now. All that sounds great, what I just said.
I would trade Myles Garrett for two first round picks this year and next year, or the following year, and I wouldn't touch a quarterback in the first round. I would get 2 tackles or I would get 2 offensive linemen and start there, because it doesn't matter who your quarterback is with that line, it's going to suck. And so whether you put it out for Justin Fields, and I'm not opposed to the Justin Fields thing, but you gotta protect the quarterback. You have to, and they are awful.
Well, and not only that, but I think they weren't as bad when they had great coaching. Obviously Bill Callahan is an all-time great, maybe the greatest offensive line coach of all time. But what they're doing this year, Andy Dickerson, and then hiring a first-time NFL coach from UConn to be the run game coordinator, work with the line. What they're being taught up front this year, and the scheme they're trying to run with these guys and their skill sets, it's just not a good match at all. I don't know what they're being taught up front this year. They're awful in the run game. They're awful in the pass game. DeJuan Jones got worse this year. Looks out of shape. I mean, maybe because I know he had the injury, but still, it is bad up front this year. And so I think a lot of that to me just goes back to coaching. Bad. It's just bad coaching this year all around. And so my point though is, do you think maybe with a better coach you could salvage some of those guys?
Well, hell yeah, you can. Absolutely.
Good coaching could always, that
changes
that's
everything.
Always, yeah. I mean, that's always a way to cover up anyone's weaknesses. You know what I mean? If you have a good coach that plays to their strengths and everything like that. But I think that they need some talent there. Dwayne Jones, no. I mean, God bless him. I mean, but I mean, he is bad.
Yeah,
he's bad.
Maybe that might be what Vrabel does is, because if you remember in the offseason, supposedly they loved Mike Vrabel in practice and in training camp. Maybe he's the guy. If they can get him in place, these guys don't want to leave. Maybe there's hope. Maybe he can he can keep it intact. But because apparently, I mean, when you got players acting out like that, it's because there's no leadership. If there's leadership, if there's coaching, they don't do that. They don't do that shit. The players they're frustrated because they're not being led. There's no direction. They don't know where this ship's going. And that's why you got guys throwing their helmets. And it's getting worse and worse every week. You're seeing the body language change. Hell, you're even seeing Stefanski start to show frustration. So that it just doesn't happen when it's proper leadership. Proper leaders hold guys accountable. They discipline them. And you don't see that kind of shit going on. So, again, I got to empty out the front office, start over. I don't know with the Mike Vrabel thing. I can't see Mike Vrabel working under that front office unless he knows it's short-lived. But I can't see him being plugged in there taking orders from these guys.
I agree. Yeah, go
not when he's been with the Patriots and he's seen how things operate there. He's actually had some success with Titans. I just can't see him taking orders from a bunch of buffoons that don't know what the hell they're doing. You know what I mean? He's just not going to do that shit. Why would he? He can go somewhere else.
Yeah, and not only that, Will Grace. I'll finish up with this. You said, and you make a great point. Stefanski said from day one, preached offensive scheme that marriages the run and the pass. Now it's shotgun the first 5 games. I'm going to play this clip again real quick because if you remember, I don't think Kevin Stefanski actually made this decision to change this offense. Going back to what Albert Breer said 8 months ago. This is only like a couple minute clip here. Here's what Albert Breer said 8 months ago, what really happened in Cleveland.
Right. So in Cleveland, the reason he was let go in Cleveland was because ownership and Paul DePodesta, not Kevin Stefanski, ownership and Paul DePodesta were frustrated with the progress Deshaun Watson had made. I don't think that they really, truly, the people who made that decision really, truly knew his value to that staff. And other people on that staff, not so much Kevin, people below him, were floored when they fired him for 2 reasons. Number one, how do you fire the offensive coordinator after you just won 11 games with 4 different quarterbacks, with your 4th and 5th tackles, without Nick Chubb,
including at least 2 or 3 of those guys that nobody's ever heard of, right? I mean, you're talking about Jeff Driscoll, PJ Walker, Dorian Thompson Robinson. Like, those are some of the guys he was working with.
So you just went through that, right? I mean, Zoe, how often do you see teams survive losing 1 tackle, let alone 3? They lost their first 3 tackles for the year.
Yeah, usually don't. I mean, look at the New England Patriots this year. You really had no tackles.
There's no tackle depth. There's no tackle depth across the league, period.
Yeah.
And he was able to help build an offense that was able to sustain with Joe Flacco coming off the couch, with their 4th and 5th tackles, without Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt coming back in. So there's that. Like, that I think is one reason why people there were floored that he got fired. The other one I think is the real key, though. He was the glue of that staff. Kevin, if you know him, he's a great guy. He's not the most outgoing guy. He's just sort of like his personality is very dry. He's got a good sense of humor, but he's not like this outwardly gregarious guy. Alex was the one that held that staff together. When guys were coming out, when guys were going in, he is a guy who was a unifying force in that building. And after the year, the Patriots.
Yeah, that's all he had to say about the Browns, but you hear that again, Dad, and you see this all play out again today. It's just like I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, I mean, here they're sure missing that guy now, man. And that's crazy because look at the pedigree. I mean, he comes from Green Bay. I mean, great pedigree, and Albert Breer's right. I mean,
and he said that 8 months ago. Mind you, this is back in like what, March or whatever.
Yeah,
it was. That was in. He said that all the way back February 2nd, 2024. He said that Super Bowl weekend.
Well, here, I mean, what's Alex Van Pelt know? John DePodesta is the absolute guru. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, why? I mean, DePodesta got all the answers. So
yeah, he lives in San Diego too. He's not in the building during the week either.
It's like I got a fellow manager I used to work with that said it best. He made reference to some people, and he said it's like coaching a football game from outer space. That's what's happening. We got a freaking geek running the team from the other side of the country. I don't even really care if he's standing on the sidelines. He just apparently doesn't know anything about football. He's the guy running the show, and that's the guy I'm going to keep going after because he's the guy running the show. He's the guy that picked Barry. He's the guy that picked Stefanski. He wanted Stefanski when he first got there. He wanted if you remember, before it was Freddie Kitchens and then Greg Williams, he wanted Stefanski prior to that. So he's the guy that's put this shit together. And he's the one that needs to be held accountable. They need to boot him. Start there and boot his ass out. And get rid of Barry. That would be number 2 because I just don't think the guy, he might be good at creating money. But here, that's easy when it's okay to win no games. You just reformat the team and start from scratch. Now when you're expected to win, and you're expected to draft well, he's shit the bed. So get rid of him. And then the next guy would be Stefanski. So, but
J Car 12 says, I like how the media was so critical with Watson since his signing, and now it's all the bad fans. Yeah, I mean, here we went off earlier in the show about we didn't agree with what the fans did today, but you do make a hell of a point though, because it's kind of like, you're right. A lot of these people in the media painted that, they or not say paint, but they said some things like you said there. They're very critical of them for how many years now? 2.5 years, and then now they want to bash the fans when they've kind of done the same thing over time. Like, what's your thoughts on that? I don't know. I mean,
here it's. I don't know. It's just idiots, like Chris said. There's just a lot of idiots out there that that can't see through things, or they don't look. I like to think that I'm a forward thinker. I'm always looking at the end result or why something's happening, or I just think people just don't do that. I'm always asking why. I'm a critic. I like to think I'm a critical thinker. I'm always asking questions. Why is this happening, and what's going to be the end result of it? And I even go back to why did something happen? You talk about this Watson thing. A lot of people need to look further into that. The timing of it. I still think it's all a crock of shit the way it happened. The timing of it when he said he wanted to trade it out of away from the Texans, and then the attorney. Somehow we got one attorney that represents all of these alleged victims. And he lives 1,000 feet from the owner of the Texans. You got two owners in the NFL that are in hot water. One's visiting basically a brothel in West Palm Beach.
Allegedly, just got to put that out there.
Well, I mean, he was the police.
I know, just for
I got you. I got you, but I'm saying so. And then now you got the same attorneys representing all the people in the Diddy thing. So, you gotta look at that stuff. It doesn't smell good. That's just how I am. I question everything, and because it's all, I don't know. I just think it's just pretty. It's just I don't know how people don't see through it, but. People are too quick to. Well, that's the first thing. People just don't question things anymore, and they basically are told how to think, and they just run with it. And why? Because it's a trendy thing to do. They don't want to go against the trend. They don't want to be unpopular. So people out there in the media
remember we heard why the speaking of trends, why the Browns hired Deep Podesta, because it was and moved into analytics. Remember, it was the trendy thing to do in the league at that time.
Yeah.
How's that worked out?
Yeah, and look look where it's got them. I mean, the Browns focus, has just been in all the wrong places. What their focus is on, and it's just you can see the teams that really are focused on winning football games. No other thing, nothing else. They just want to put together great teams and win football games, and it's happening for teams. But Browns have been worried about other things, and being trendy, and look how it's turned out. They're the worst organization of the three major sports. They're the worst organization. They're horrible. It's been absolutely terrible from day one. You know what I mean? And there's been three different owners, or two owners because he had the learners. But I don't understand. And that's the other thing. Just like what are the chances you just get two owners that run their business the same way? Only Cleveland.
Yeah. Trendy, like you said, trends. Follow the trends. I mean, no identity.
Well, that's what everyone does.
Jeez.
Everyone's nobody has conviction. Everyone's afraid to say how they really think. Because
you should be able to have conversations. That's my whole point earlier. Was like, just because I say you shouldn't have booed him today doesn't mean I'm dismissing the allegations. Like, it can't just be, well, it's not a one-way street. Like, just because I say one thing doesn't mean even like we were talking about the team this year. If you criticized anybody else in the organization but Watson at one point in the season so far, it was, oh, you're a Watson apologist. It was like, no, I said he's playing bad, but there's other shit in this organization, right, too, that they're really bad in other places, too. They're actually, I think, are more alarming because even if you move on from him, you're still shit.
Well, here, again, I don't dismiss that shit. I don't dismiss any of that shit either, but again, I question everything. And I would tell people that feel that strongly about it, there's a lot of things you can do. You can go donate your time to and volunteer and help people. I can give you three different organizations. I can give you one right now that, you can certainly go help women that are caught up in sex trafficking. If you feel that strongly about it, get up and go do something about it. And that's awesome if you do. But, there's too many people to just sit and, and they crucify other people and they hide behind and they say all the right things, but they do nothing about it. So if you're one of those people, get up and do something about it. If you feel that damn strong about it, go do something about it. If you feel so strong that you're just going to just character assassinate somebody and just feel like you can sit on a pulpit and do that, go do something about it. Go actually make a difference because there's people that need help.
And here's something to say to those fans too. You may be booing Deshaun Watson and while he got hurt, is now going to spend the next 6 to 8 months or 10 months rehabbing. But here's what I say to you. He still has 257 or 225 million guaranteed and you don't. So, I mean, really, what exactly are you booing?
Oh, I bet if he just gave him 100 racks, they'd love him forever.
At the end of the day, Deshaun Watson doesn't care about your boo because he has $225 million and you don't. So, I mean, you could boo him all you want and do all those things, but the reason why they could pay that $225 million, folks, is because you're at the game.
Well, here's the other thing. And even with the accusations that are made against him, he's still done more for people way more for other people than what all these people will ever do for someone.
Oh, 100%.
So again, get off your pulpit and go do something about it.
100%.
Yeah, he said our owner's an idiot for paying him that much.
Well, here, you know what though?
Sell the team.
You know what I say about that though? I'm just glad he at least tried. He didn't sit back because we would have bitched about that had he not, and it would have got out that he didn't want to pay the money. We would have said, "Oh, we could have had a quarterback. He didn't take it." So here, it's not our money. At the end of the day, it's not our money. them paying this guy that kind of money guaranteed doesn't affect whether or not we can pay our bills. It doesn't affect the industries we're in. It's Jimmy Haslam's money. He can do what he wants with it. So at least the guy spent the money and made an effort. You know what I mean? I get this. I understand what this guy's saying, but I look at it that way. I'm just, at least the owner spent the money. He tried it. You know what I mean? It just didn't work out. It failed. So,
well, that's why I said earlier why I was pissed off getting the show is here. If you really feel that way about that, like they say they are, why they say they're really booing, and then you want to go get on Myles Garrett's ass for saying what he said after the game, then go back to the game or go outside of Berea and boo the people that made the trade.
Right, but here, that's not gonna happen.
You'll keep buying the gear. You'll keep going to the games. A lot of you probably give Kevin Stefanski and this regime an excuse. It's just Watson's fault, and let's go try out another quarterback that will ruin probably.
We're gonna find out these next 10 games.
We're gonna find out. Maybe they'll go 10-0. Jameis Winston's the answer. I bet not, but we'll see. Gergs, how bad you got the Ravens winning next week?
I mean, the Ravens do play tomorrow, so there's plenty of time for Lamar Jackson to get hurt. So, I mean, I still have the Ravens winning even if Lamar gets hurt. I'm just saying, it's just I can't say how much yet.
Knock on wood, he doesn't.
But you know, I mean, I have the Ravens. I mean, I'll say 37-10.
You actually think we're gonna put 10 up on the Ravens?
Garbage. There's always garbage time.
I don't even think we still can in garbage time, man.
What do you got, Jersey?
I think the Ravens they're gonna crack 40 points, and I think they're gonna taunt the shit out of our fans. I think that's what's gonna happen all game long, like they never have. It's gonna be horrible. It'll be horrible in Cleveland.
Bring that up. Remember last week people were saying, man, the fans are going to go in there. They're going to boo Watson and boo the offense all game long this week. And then now, like you just said, I think you made a great point. I think now it's going to be the opposite being done to them.
Right. They're not too bad. Yeah. As a whole, they deserve it. I feel bad for the fan. Man, Steelers have just put on a show tonight. I feel bad for the fans, the real fans. You know what I mean? Not these people who get a ticket here and there.
It's trendy.
Yeah, just trendy, or these corporate fans, or the people that have just spent so much money for 30, 40, 20 years, whatever, have committed themselves to season tickets. You know what I mean? And when it goes all the way back to the community, I just feel bad for those people.
The spread looks like it's 9.5. Oh my God. I'm going to hammer that. Holy smokes. 9.5?
It's
God.
It's just, again, as a whole, we deserve it. We deserve everything we get because we got the dumbest. I'm not saying all the fans because it's probably just a small.
You definitely triggered somebody just right there. We probably triggered a lot of people.
It's just a fraction of them. But if we got the worst. I mean, we got some real idiots.
Well, I mean, I think every fan base could say, but I don't. But yeah, I don't. I got the Ravens obviously winning. I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna say 42-17. I think it's gonna get ugly.
I'd say it's gonna be I'll go 42-3.
Yeah, maybe I wouldn't shock.
He'll actually make a field goal this week.
It don't even matter anyways. I mean, it's like I can't wait to see how much the season tickets go up when they build the new stadium. Well, they better have a good team rolling by then.
Well, yeah, and I think that's what they're gonna be focused on. I think they just start over right now, or they do whatever they got to do. That is first and foremost in the Haslams. It's that stadium being built and being able to sell those tickets on those PSLs. So,
yeah,
that's a no secret, and I don't blame them.
Right,
but they better start now.
Yeah, they gotta build for that stadium, and who knows, maybe they'll have a product by the time they move in. What is it? 2027 is when their lease is up.
28 or 2028.
Yeah. So, you have 4 years. You got to start now. But if it involves Myles Garrett going to anyone inside the NFC North other than the Lions, I take back everything I said.
Yeah. Well, you guys got any final remarks? Gurge, you got anything else you want to say before we get out of here, bud?
Lions number 1 in the NFC, baby. Looking good.
All
I'm
right.
excited. And I can't believe that I'm sitting here talking about another dysfunctional franchise as a Lions fan.
No,
But I am.
Nice. Must be nice.
Well, I spent plenty of time in dysfunction.
Oh, by the way, Steelers won tonight, 37-15.
Yeah. So you can get out of it. It is possible to get out of it because here, trust me, the Lions didn't win their playoff game for years and years and years and all the things that the Browns are in right now. So it's possible, but you have to have the right people. You have to have the right people. And it's all about rebuilding.
Yeah. Well, Chris, we'll see you next week, bud. Perhaps we're all predicting another Browns loss, so we'll see you next week on that one.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll see you.
All
right. Jersey, let's see, probably one more one of the more unique shows we've ever had tonight. We kind of expected that, especially some of the comments early on we got. But anything else before we get out of here, though? You want to tell me to like, subscribe, and share, though? And share still, though?
Well, here, first, look at the Steelers. Prime example. You talk about difference between organizations. They brought in 2 quarterbacks. One that they said was out in Denver, and he looked horrible 2 years ago. Last year, he didn't look too bad. People said the guy's career was over. He's terrible. He's trash. I'm not disputing any of that. And I'm not saying he is. And then you bring in a guy that they said was garbage that played in Chicago. And when you know it, they're 5-2 with basically 2 quarterbacks that most people at least shouldn't even be starting in the NFL. Okay. Most people of any sense would say Deshaun Watson's probably better than both of them. But look what the Steelers are doing. And it's just, there's no dysfunction. And they're looking better and better every week. So just saying, if you compare the two, if you compare the 2 organizations. So, but other than that, yeah, kind of unique show, kind of like a show I don't really like.
Yeah, maybe.
If anybody's watching, I don't really, if I come off like if you feel like you're a little upset or offended, don't be. I'm just someone that I don't articulate things as clean as other people, but I just say what's on my mind and just say the truth. So don't take it personal. Nothing's ever personal with me. I don't think I'm better than anybody. As a matter of I'm just not one of those people. But I sure as hell don't kick people when they're down or wish any ill will on anyone, and I don't respect people who do that. So, but you have the right to do it, and I have the right to feel the way I feel. So, but either way, let's go out this week and try to be compassionate about other people. Live your life to help other people, to serve other people, to lift other people up, not tear them down. That's at the end of, whenever I pass, I always think about this. I always think about what are people going to say about me, and did I help people? Was there something I said to help someone, or something I did, or I don't want to be known as somebody that hurt people. So, just not a good thing, and that's not what we're here for. So, but everybody have a good week. Like, subscribe, share. Generally, these shows are, if you're new here tonight, generally these are a lot more entertaining.
Yeah.
There's a lot more laughter. There's, so there's actually more people on. Typically, I think a lot of people just aren't in a good mood, or a lot of people just don't want to get on there and talk about this, which I get. So it's okay, but it's a great show. It's growing. And don't be afraid to come on. Everybody's welcome. Everybody's, anybody can say what they want to say. That's the great thing about it. It's not controlled. And my son does a great job moderating it, and he believes in everyone having a voice, and that's why he's doing it. So that's all I have.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Can we say that great block from Chubb? Yeah, that was a great block.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I agree with everything you said. And here, my rant at the beginning of the show. I'm usually not like that, but yeah, just some of the stuff I saw today, I'm just kind of like, I just kind of, I don't know, like you said, I just didn't agree with what some people were saying online after the game, and the way people were even attacking Myles Garrett and Jameis Winston for what they said after the game. I just thought that was unfair, and I explained why. And I also said, I feel like a lot of people, if you really believe that, then I want to show more. And really stand down with, and that's your right. Right. I mean, I ain't telling you not what to believe and what not to believe. Nobody up here tonight said what we think really happened with that situation. Anyways, we all just stated facts that were facts. Public. It's public. I mean, we all stated facts, and really said, though, like what you just said, Jersey. You should always try to show compassion in everything you do, but also and be respectful. And it's just there's certain places for certain situations you just don't do certain things. That's
Right.
So
right. And you want
no matter
people.
what somebody may have done or what you think of that person, it just was not a good look overall.
No. And you should want people to improve their life. You know what I mean? And you should want people to, even people that, the thing I did things 20 years ago, 20 something years ago, I would never do now. I mean, and I'm not proud of them, but here I did, here, and I still do things wrong now. You know what I mean? I'm not, but again, and that's what gives. That's why I don't have the right to demean anyone or judge someone or decide what someone's fate should be. That's not for me.
Not up to us. That was my whole point in the beginning. It's not up to us, and
Right.
People should be allowed to have their own opinions without being trashed, annihilated.
Absolutely.
And now, and don't put label. Now people that maybe watch, oh, you're this, you're that. You're part of the problem if you do that, and you're not really helping anything. You're just making it worse. So,
right.
I don't know how anybody can. You can't demand respect and act like people need to listen to you when you don't know how to act right and deliver your message. If you're know how to interact with people in an appropriate manner, in an adult-like fashion.
Right. And the ones that usually are the ones that are attacking other ones are the ones that can't handle it when someone fires back on them. So, it's, if you can't, just don't do it. It takes a lot more strength to bite your tongue. And I'm going to tell it here, listen, if you don't know this, a lot of people may know this, think about this. Is there anything, as a matter of fact, there isn't. There's nothing more destructive in this world than the human tongue, than what people say. There's nothing more destructive in this world than what people say. Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's the absolute truth. So you can do a lot of harm with it. It's just, but it takes a lot more strength to bite your tongue than it is to just say whatever you want to say. A lot of people, they think they're proud of that, and I can just say what I want to whoever I want. I don't really care. That's not really the right way to be. I mean, I just said a few minutes ago, I just say how I feel. Somebody's asked me a question, but I'll just say how I'll tell them the truth, how I think. I'm not going to shy away about telling somebody how I think, but I don't, who the hell am I? You know what I mean? I don't, who the hell am I? Why would anybody care what I have to say? That's how I think. Why would anybody care what I have to think? What I have to say? You know what I mean?
John B said Deshaun only cost the Browns the number 1 picks. What a bargain. Oh, and $230 million. I forgot that small detail. Well, Deshaun didn't make the deal for him to come here. He decided to come here because the people gave him $230 million that run the franchise and wanted to make the deal. So I would go take that up with them.
Yeah, well, anybody would have took the 230. You can't fault Deshaun Watson for saying yes to that contract.
Again, the same energy we saw in that stadium today, just like the comment, John B. If you're pissed about that, respectful, I would go put that same energy towards people that made the deal because they're still running your franchise.
Right. Very few people out in the working world are earning their money. Very few people. I'm 47 years old, and very few people I've worked around earn every bit of it. So,
but again,
shut the hell up.
Well, no, not you. We appreciate your comment, but my whole point, if you have that energy, again, the people that made the deal and offered him the contract, they're the ones that were in charge and made that happen. You better go take it up with them. I want to see it. Where's the same energy towards them? We'll see it. Not violence, not promote violence, but you want to boo, go boo them. We'll see it. Go outside and breathe.
Demand that they get replaced.
Right. Still running your franchise. You trust them to get it right again? I don't think so. But
it's not trendy.
Not trendy. Yeah. No shit. Well, like, subscribe, share all the good stuff, and we'll see you guys in the next one. We're out of here.
Bye.
Go.